everybody. All right, so welcome everybody in this fantastic Tuesday afternoon, at least here in Torino, despite the rain. I am Fabio Nascimbeni from the ETF, and I lead the work of the community of innovative educators. This community this year is working through, and in the future will be working through what we call new learning clubs. New learning clubs are groups of innovative educators and or educators interested in dynamics of teaching and learning innovation that gather around a specific. We have launched already two. The first was on STEAM education. The second is actually on artificial intelligence for teaching, and now we are launching the third new learning club on adult learning, upskilling, and reskilling for adults. Just one word on what the clubs are. It's important to know that the clubs are a way for us to foster sharing of practices and sharing of approaches of teaching and learning. Every club is different, so this club, as we will hear soon, is very much linked with the concept of vocational excellence and also connecting to schools, not only to educators, which we welcome very much. And every club, during its life cycle of around 6 months, flexibly, agrees and decides which kind of outcome wants to produce, depending on the dynamics and on the interest of the members. We have at the moment about 30 people connected. We know we have many more who showed interest, and so we will see also in the future how the club develops. For the moment, what I can promise is that from the animation unit of the community of innovative educators, we will follow the club and support you and your colleague as much as possible. And so I'll hand back the floor to Florian, and I welcome all of you to the first event of the club.
Thanks a lot, Fabio, and welcome to everybody. I'm colleague of Fabio, Florian, and I'm happy to give the floor to my colleague Manuel, who will say a couple of words as the coordinator of the ETF network.
Thank you, Fabio. Thank you, Florian. Thank you, everyone there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All good.
Okay. It's a pleasure for me to be with you and working with you in this new club, which is not new at all for the topic, a topic which for some of us that we work in vocational education and training or continuing training from many years ago is a big challenge and a big, let's say, way of improving every day for rethinking adult learning or even continuing vocational education and training. From our role in the Network for Excellence and working here from the ETF, from different activities and projects, what we do know is that in many occasions also the policies has been designed before the practice, and I think we want to, let's say, kick off again on how to build from the grassroots and to understand also what are doing now, let's say, the so-called centers of excellence and the new role given to vocational education and training institutions, that every day we are assisting more on having a extended role also in the concept of center of excellence. So the mission and the functions are those related to vocational education and training and lifelong learning. So this is important to keep in mind on how the discussion will be evolving also on and thinking from an institutional point of view, what the schools, teachers and staff is doing for implementing adult learning. Of course, institutionally, and also the new role of the best providers in this picture. We'll try to learn things that are, let's say, endemic say topics or hot topics for adult learning from here, which are governance, financing, inclusion and excellence, which is also an important issue when we will think and we will discuss how adults are engaged and what type of adults, what type of groups, etc. And also the quality. All this, as I said, for us is important to try to discuss with you.
Oh, you're muted, Manuel.
And from
You're muted again.
it mute itself. And from the perspective of the Network for Excellence, we are happy and glad and welcome members that are applying for having a role and discussing this new club. I will stop here. Thank you, and very much welcome again to be here with you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Manuel. And the idea of the club is really to talk to each other. You will see that today we will have more input than we will plan usually. But the idea is to kick off with a lot of input that gives us a lot of topics to discuss. So that new learning club is part of the ETF's new learning, of the Creating New Learning initiative in ETF. And I would like to thank our partners here, EFTA, the European Vocational Training Association, and EAEA, the European Association of the Education of Adults, who are partnering in that club. And I would like to very briefly just say our main objectives, remind us all. So we want to first create a space to collect inspirational practice on engaging and inclusive adult learning. So we want to learn from you. And we started already by putting good practices into an online form. I will share that link with you, and I invite you really warmly to share also your practice. So it's not a one way. We don't want to only speak from our side. We invite you cordially to let us know what works well in your school and tell us about your practices. So the one objective is to collect inspirational practice. The second objective is that we learn about the state of play of adult learning and education in your school. I will share another link with you. Manuel has mentioned it. The ETF had developed a self-assessment tool for centers of vocational excellence, but also any provider of that. And I developed a shorter version of it, only highlighting the adult education elements. And we would be really pleased to have your input on that and get their short filled-in forms to learn about the state of play of adult learning and the issues that you're facing, so that we can collect new topics for us as a group to discuss and provide interesting input for. And then finally, of course, we want to plan for next year, but I keep it at this level now. So thanks for now, and I'm happy to invite my first guest speaker from Jordan, Mr. Leif Al-Sayeden. He is director of the Aqaba National Vocational Training Hub in Jordan, and I'm giving the floor to you, please.
Thank you, Florian, for the ETF for enabling such kind of chance for networking and relying on the, let's say, the international dialogue. Such kind of dialogues will resulting in a very fruitful impact, I think, in the future, in the near future, hopefully. Thank you for this chance again. And as I'm always mentioning, that we look fondly for the opportunity of being part of the ETF network. Looking forward that we could build on such kind of partnership for the benefit of youth in Jordan and in the region as well. As you know, the context of Jordan, we are considering as, let's say, the anchor of stability in the MENA region. We are building on such privilege that we have for sustaining and maintaining the sustainability for our youth and for our country. If you may, I will start our quick presentation. Just to...
Please, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah. The Aqaba National Vocational Training Hub. Aqaba is the southern city of Jordan, considered as the gateway for Jordan to the world. It's the only seaport for Jordan. Just a 250,000 population only. We are a small, friendly city in the far south of Jordan. As you may know, the main challenge of let's say of ANVIT addresses the gap, the skills gap between the qualification of the Jordanian youth and the practical skills required by the employers. Aqaba is trying to attract, let's say, the foreign direct investment to the city. We are trying, Jordan is considered as an developing country still under progress of capacitating our resources. So we are relying on a way on the foreign investment. But there is such a gap between the qualification of our youth and the requirements of the employers in Aqaba, while Aqaba is rapidly growing the economy. Despite the Aqaba development as a hub for logistics, tourism, and industrial sector, the unemployment rate remains high. Currently, we are facing more than 21% of unemployment for Aqaba youth nationally. More than 45% of ANVIT trainees already, they are having their university degrees. University degrees in addition to the diploma degree as well. Yet, unfortunately, they still lack the hands-on skill. This is the main obstacle of Jordan, that the limited financial resources of the country is a bit delaying the progress of building a new modern facility. But with the collaboration with the Jordanian government and the international donors, we built our ANVIT, and this is a real photo for ANVIT. This is the facade of the facility. Particularly in the technical field, let's say the demand practical expertise we are trying to provide that the academic degrees fail to provide. This is the main, let's say, the main issue. To address this, ANVIT offers a targeted vocational and customized vocational training programs that aligns with Aqaba key economic and dynamic sectors, such as I mentioned earlier, logistics, automotive, and industry. Our approach, the reason why our practice, we consider this as an innovative practice, that ANVIT goes beyond the traditional theoretical learning by mainly incorporating work-based learning and the competency-based education and a harmony that will serve both ways, the capacitating the youth and fulfilling the requirements of the industry and employers. In addition, that we have integrated the Internet of Things in the augmented reality and the virtual reality to enhance the engagement of youth. On a way, we are trying to gamification, let's say, gamification the knowledge that we are using and relying on the Internet of Things. In addition, that including the career guidance, it's a vital and essential component that we are prioritizing the career guidance, depending on the self-exploration, the professions exploration, and the, let's say, the real world experience, mainly. On a way or another, we are trying to attract some angel investors to support the entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurs, the startups out of our graduates, to support learners for finding either jobs or starting their own businesses. Regarding the outreach, which is considered as one of our major missions, we are relying on an open strategy, attracting the civil society associations, the CBOs, even the engineers association, the mechanical guilds, the all of kinds of collaborative efforts. We are trying to redirect these efforts into one direction to serve an open strategy for attracting new students. This is the beneficiary experience, the beneficiary journey, starting with the registration. The second phase is the career guidance, counseling, CGC, then the technical training, the on-job, and the graduation and certification. The final stage, as I mentioned, even trying to support them finding a job place, a decent job placement, and even a startup business. But this is the worth mentioning that this is the main posters that we are trying to spread between our beneficiaries in a catchy colors and a catchy design. The type of learning activities, it's a range, it's a diverse range of learning activities, starting from the in-company training to the use of AR in the classrooms. Our focus mainly on learning by doing. This is the major goal that we are focusing on, learning by doing. For the real life scenarios, let's say. The joint projects for those with prior qualification and first-time trainees, also promoting a collaborative learning environment. The impact. As you can see, this is all of the photos that we are having is a real training photos. For the and the real life application of skills. The programs have demonstrated a significant impact. As an example, the upcoming batch, including 41 TVET graduates and more than 120 trainees, are expected to begin in November, just 2 weeks in advance. Moreover, we have 57 of our graduates are from TVET courses, have already found their employment opportunities in the diversified fields related to the training. These outcomes are tracked. This is what we are prioritizing even, an audit-oriented operation. The outcomes are tracked through partnership with social security data, ensuring that we have reliable KPIs, key performance indicators, to measure the long-term success of our graduates. For the success stories that how beneficiaries transition from unemployment to underemployment and finding meaningful careers after the completion of ANVIT programs. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Very interesting. What I like a lot is that what you explained, it's not just about theoretical learning, but it's learning by doing, work-based learning. And you link the theoretical learning with career guidance, entrepreneurship learning, support to finding a job. You're conducting outreach to increase the participation of adult learners. So I think it's really a very interesting package. Thanks so much. And I wonder now if there are questions. Think about, what about your own school? What of the presented aspects could be interesting for you? What would be challenges for you? What needs to be adapted? Why and how in order for you to adapt such an approach? So I'm curious if you have any questions, any reflections, please feel free to share. Just raise your hand or speak up.
If I can jump in, I have a typical question from the community. So in the community spirit, first of all, congratulations, very nicely designed and very good looking initiative. My question would be, what can other schools get from there? So if I was a school and I would like to, get something really in a short time, so get something that can help me, as Florian was saying, by connecting different pieces. What, apart from writing to you, meeting, and of course starting, what are the low-hanging fruits there that I could really grasp and use? Thanks.
We are in a direct collaboration with the Ministry of Education here in Aqaba. We have received even this is a new momentum that Jordan is trying to invent. There is a national economic modernization vision that considered as a grassroots initiative from Jordan, and we are trying to complete the circle. That we are not introducing our facility as just a center for vocational and training or education. We are introducing our initiative as a skills development center, not even for vocational, but for all even the support skills. We are receiving students from the secondary level that they are trying to explore more and more for the futuristic, let's say, future jobs, let's say the opportunity for a penetration in the vocational sector. Still, we didn't have let's say, the official ceremony for opening. We are still in the soft opening phase, but still waiting for the snowballing, let's say, to explore more and more for the level of the schools. But nothing rigid till today with the schools, but still we are receiving spontaneous requests for engagement.
Very interesting indeed. Thanks a lot. I wondered, are any of you conducting outreach in your schools, trying to find those in need of training? Any one of you offering also transitioning out services? Anyone else working more strongly on learning by doing and not just theoretical classroom work? Share with us your experiences. You can use the chat, of course, as well, or any other reflections you have. But I think that's fine. That might also come at a later stage. I have a positive comment here in the chat from Xavier. Glad to see the integration of career guidance, which is crucial thing to do. Thanks a lot. Yeah, and congratulations again, Leif, and your team. I think it's really brilliant what you're doing, especially in a very difficult context.
Exactly.
Is there anything else you would like to add from your side, from your team?
Just through your platform and through your network, we are open for any collaboration. We are, let's say, a fresh blood team. The majority of the team were not in TVET before. We were the majority from a private sector background. We are a bit agile than the other. Yeah. This is, I think, one of our strength points, the low age category of team members. We are open for collaboration, happy to be always on board with ETF activities and events. Hopefully, we could receive you in Aqaba on the near future.
That's my
And
second invitation. I will not be able to say no when the third one comes.
You should enjoy the warmth of Aqaba now.
Thank you so much. One last question, just to be clear also for the participants. Are you a public school? You're part of the Vocational Training Center, right? Network, or are you a separate private actor?
No, we are separate. We are a non-profit branch for the National Employment and Training Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we are a newly registered company in Aqaba. But we are just operating in Aqaba.
Yes. Yeah, now I connected right again. Thank you. Fine. Well, then, if there are no other questions at this point, thanks a lot also for the positive comments in the chat, and congratulations again to the team. It is not a one-off. Yeah, we invite you to continue being active in the club, share through the online tool that we have other practices that you're proud of sharing, to feel connected to the club also after that intervention, please, Leif and team. So I'm happy to welcome now a second speaker from Wallonie, Belgium. We have Mr. Simon Fusilier he's training coordinator at Technobel, and I'm giving the floor to you. You're also member of EFTA, the European Vocational Training Association, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm happy to have you with us. Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak here today. So introduce Technobel and our approach called We Are Makers. So first of all, Technobel is an IT vocational training center based in Belgium, so in Wallonia, created in 2001, and it's an initiative from a private public partnerships between Le Forum, so it's a regional organization for employment, Proximus telecom provider, and also the University of Namur for the research part. And in 2003, we received an official recognition from the Walloon authorities called Centre de Compétences, placing our training activities at high level of expertise. So as a center of competence, our missions are training for job seekers, continuing education for teachers and students, continuing education for companies with upskilling, reskilling, and also raising awareness among the general public. So our challenges, four of our challenges are the tech industry and the IT field change very quickly, requiring constant adaptation and up-to-date skills for workers. The IT field have also an high demand for specialized skills in area for like cybersecurity development or data analysis. We have also many learners are on reskilling to shift it to tech role, requiring tailored training. And finally, some learners need an alternative teaching methods after, for example, struggling with traditional education, for example. So some data now. So at Technobel, we support a diverse audience in terms of skills level and career goals. Most of our learners are changing career. So as you can see, 48% of learners are at level 4 and 5 of the EQF, so the European Qualification Framework. A further 21% at our level 6, and our courses have also 20% level 3 learners. For example, people who are looking to improve their basic skills to help them enter in the job market, for example. They often have a diploma and want to change career direction. And finally, we have just 10% of level 7 corresponding to expert or specialized skills are looking to become expert in the field, in particular in cyber security. And another data important is that the age data shows that 39% of our learners are aged from 26 to 35, making this is the largest group. And this group is closely followed by 27% of learners in the 35 to 45 age bracket. So reflecting a strong presence of prim-age individuals at Technobel. So now our approach, we called it We Are Makers. So we have the first contact. This is initial phase where learners are introduced to our programs. It marks the entry point to the learning journey. And during this first interview, the motivation is the main selection criteria. After that, learners goes to guidance phase called Maker Up during 12 days. And we focused on hands-on learning and introduced job seekers to programming and network. After this guidance, after this Maker Hub, we have a second interview, and they have to choose programmation or network or Cisco IT Essentials. And during this 20 days of IT Essentials, learners are introduced to essentials of IT skills like network, hardware, or troubleshooting. After we go to qualification pathway, and this section of path is dedicated to deep specialized training in different IT and tech-related qualification. They have to prove that they are motivated and have a minimum skills. So it's they have an assessment before this pathway, and each qualification takes approximately 9 months to complete in, for example, for this year, development, system administration, cybersecurity, ICT business analysis, or data analysis. So the We Are Makers approach is centered by also learning by doing. We have a guidance service with 4 people providing additional support to ensure learning succeed. For example, during the 9th month, we have 25 days of soft skills like communication, project management, and also 10 days for the job searching. We validate skills, so with digital badges, but also we have a special recognition. Also, companies are involved, close partnership with companies to improve employability. And finally, we build a strong and active community around learners. Actually, finally, coach. Trainers now takes on the role of coach or facilitators in the learning process. So instead just delivering theoretical knowledge, they guide learners, helping them develop skills and overcome challenge during the pathway. So concrete tools now, more than just our skills. So we want to provide competencies connected with, for example, SDGs, because we think that they are citizens of tomorrow. We focused on raising awareness among group about the digital fresco. May you know the climate fresque. So it's the digital fresque. We work with the University of Namur, which makes our students aware of digital responsibility in their jobs, their future jobs. We have also developed a cooperative space at Technobel. So it's a physical place in the low-tech building to promote societal and scientific debate among learners, but also the team of Technobel. Also, as a digital center, we collaborate with a bioengineer to design learning curricula, incorporating workshops on digital fabrication and IoT for environmental sensors. And this workshop will be linked also to our environment, and our computer courses will include data science and AI skills to analyze and solve environmental issues. And to support this project, we developed strong partnerships with local businesses at Namur, at Sine. So it's really local businesses and NGOs. Finally, companies are deeply involved in our learners' journeys. They propose real-world projects that allow learners to apply their skills in practical scenarios. Additionally, learners participate in company visits, and we also organize professional meetups connecting learners with companies or industry for networking, mentorships, and potential job opportunities. So and finally, we are proud because we are recognized by the Nature Network in Wallonia. So we believe this reflects our commitment to sustainable and environmentally responsible practices. So now a focus to a special project for job seekers is the Play Zone. So it's a space designed to give learners opportunity to work on real-world projects in collaboration with partner companies. This immersive environment allows participants to apply their technical skills. And during this 25 days, learners work in teams to develop solutions to real challenges presented by companies. So from a concept, they have to develop a working prototype, and the Play Zone encourage creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving, and push learners to go beyond just technical knowledge. It's a space where they can not only put technical skills, but also soft skills, because they have to communicate. They have to work in teams and project management. So yeah, it's a real project, and now, two key aspects of Technobel approach to skill recognition and certification, because we are not a schools, and we offered digital badges, and those badges are awarded by companies, trainers, but also guidance service. And digital badges are awarded to learners to recognize their achievement and competencies throughout their training. So they have to build a project and present this project to companies. We also work with kickoff, so it's a certificate of competencies acquired in training. So this is a formal certification that validates competencies of learners, competencies they have developed during the training. It aligns with the EQF at level 6, 7. It depends of the pathway. These qualifications are currently recognized for position in the public services. So, for example, a person without a diploma can apply for a job required level 6 or 7 in the public sectors. So it's very interesting. Actually, we have it for business analysis, and we are working on system and network administration. So finally, the impact, actually, 75% of learners find a job immediately after the training in the IT field. So yeah, that's it for my slides. In conclusion, this approach that I have presented to you today will continue to evolve. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Simon. May I kindly ask all participants to mute if you're not speaking at the moment? Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that presentation, Simon. I have two questions here in the chat. Maya is asking, could you share information? Who is covering the expenses for training at Technobel?
Yep.
Is it self-financed by participants, or is the learning supported and funded by other sources?
Yeah, it's the forum, so the regional organization of training, and it's totally free for job seekers.
Right. Any additional question, Maya, or is that solved for you? I guess it's solved for now.
I think there was also another question from Shafer about what happens after the play zone, and do the learners get hired? If you have maybe some rate of possible employment and hiring of learners.
Yeah, so at the end of the play zone, learners present project to companies. So not just companies involved in the play zone, but also other companies. And it's a job market after presentation, and it's the first meeting for companies. So yeah.
Thanks a lot, Simon. I find the concept of the play zone really interesting. So real companies give real problems, and the learners in your programs try to identify solutions in a real life context with a time frame, with a team, forced to be creative and innovative. That's really interesting. I don't know how much you answered that, but so they are ideas of your learners. Can the company just simply use that and then make a new product out of that, or how is that those ideas, how are they copyrighted, so to say?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a working prototype. So companies have to develop the project after to be a real product. And during the play zone, they have also prototyping courses. So they have to. We have a lab with 3D printers, laser cutting machine, and they have to do something with this kind of tools to present also the product. Yeah, but no, it's a working prototype just in 25 days. Yeah, it's not so much days.
I like that approach for two reasons. First, it is very difficult to get companies actually be part of such initiatives for further continuous education and learning. And attracting them through offering them solutions to their problems is a very nice idea to get them on board. So that's for sure an interesting lesson learned for all. And I would like to talk briefly about cooperation again. And the second aspect is simply, I dropped my mind. Sorry, no, dropped my mind. I will get back to you on this in a moment. But I wanted to throw into the group the question of cooperation. Are there any questions both to the speakers from Jordan and also here to Simon from Belgium related to cooperation, how they do it? Because it's one of the crucial aspects. Yeah, and that was my second point. This makes adults learn on practical, real issues. And we know from theory also adults prefer working on practical aspects and not just theory. So any questions related to cooperation, how to set up such cooperation? Or any other point, of course, feel free to share another question or reflection. If not directly, maybe Simon and also our colleagues from Jordan, if you want to share very briefly. Simon, maybe first. What do? Do you sign memorandums of understanding? Is that on an annual basis? How do you do that to bring the companies in?
So for companies, we do that. We have strong partnerships with some companies, and also in the IT field is a field with high demand of workers. So it's very interesting for companies to go with to get involved in the curricula or in project, because they are able to meet learners with a potential. So yeah, it's very interesting for companies and for us, and we have yes, it depends. We have people who are involved in the contact of companies, and the job is to bring companies in the pathway.
Right.
Is it clear? Or yeah?
No, thanks, Simon. If you have more to share about corporations and how you do that, maybe you take your time after that meeting. Please add it into that online form that I asked you to fill in. This way we can share it with the wider group. That would be brilliant.
Mm.
I have another question here in the chat from Ahmed. He asks, how long are training and courses for job seekers?
Yeah, it's 9-month courses from Monday to Friday from 9 to 5. So it's a full-time training.
And these would there be options also for people who are actually working?
No, because we are funded by Le Forum, so people have to be job seekers.
Clear.
Mm.
Yeah. Thanks for that clarification. Okay, brilliant. I would stop here with Simon and his example.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, thank you so much. And I'm very happy to welcome, last but not least, our speaker from the French-Armenian Vocational Education Center, Ms. Yelena Martirosyan. I hope I pronounced your name well. She is the Deputy Pedagogical Director of the vet school, and I'm happy to listen to you and to see your presentation.
Thank you for this invitation. It is really a good platform to have this peer learning for all of us, and very good very good experiences of our partners. Now let's start let's share my screen. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, French-Armenian Vocational Education Center, or CEPFA for short, has 23 years of existence, and it started its life with the assistance of our French partners and donors. When we speak about these 23 years, we speak not only about formal, but also about non-formal education. And as you understand, to do this kind of things unilaterally is, I think, it's impossible. That's why I would like to mention our partners. Women's Support Center, Children of Armenian Funds, Invoritun Rehabilitation Center for Soldiers, Armenian General Benevolent Union. So this is not the whole list of our partners, but I assure you that even those who I do not mention have a great input to support the people we are going to talk about, our learners. We would like to talk about the vulnerable population and non-formal education that is provided by our center to them. How is it possible? Of course, we have to speak about a good relation with our employers, and also a cooperation with our alumni, who are also the employers as well, for the future employers. And why do we speak about vulnerable groups? Actually, they are not the only learners of us, but our educational center, our vet school, has the commitment to address these people, because it is something that we we are obligatory to do, we are obliged to do. When we speak about vulnerable population, basically the groups that we refer are the members of problem families, the soldiers, and refugees. The soldiers are those who participate in military actions. The refugees are those who are forcibly displaced. Actually, we understand that these groups cannot smoothly and easily integrate into the job market. And the basic obstacles that we would like to overcome together with them are their educational gap for most of them, the physical disabilities when we speak about soldiers, refugees, and of course all of them have difficulties with living conditions. So everything that we name generate the lack of confidence in these people. And it is, I think that it is the main obstacle that we have to overcome. So when we speak about the employment problems, we understand that before going to the market, before getting the skills, these people have to overcome the difficulties that they have. And when we speak about the definite groups I have mentioned, we have a variety of challenges. And when we speak about the soldiers and refugees and people from problem families who met family or domestic violence, who had some injuries, psychological traumas, who have definite disabilities. So these are the challenges we encounter and we have to go through together with them. The complexes, the difficulties with concentration, low motivation. So everything is something that we try to help them with. I do not say that we are the first the first who deal with it. Of course, when we speak about our partners, there are the units that support, let's say, when we speak about the soldiers with traumas, the center provides professional assistance to them. But still, you understand that this kind of problems cannot diminish. Cannot disappear. It is something that goes with them. So how we deal with it? How to help learners to meet challenges and overcome the obstacles. When we develop the training and when we suggest the training, first of all, we would like the trainees or the future learners to do the first step. So we speak about career guidance at the moment, but actually it is done by the way of an introductory tour. When the groups are formed and they make some decision, let's say, to be a learner of a cooking training or pastry training, we just do this introductory tour and ask them to be a part of a master classes in each training, though he or she didn't choose this one. Whenever they have this introductory tour, some of them change their decision, and it is, it looks like a little step towards a motivation that I am the one who can choose something that is important for me. So I can make a decision, because self-confidence, it's something that should be built step by step and like stone by stone. It is not easy to do for these people. Then when we speak about the training themselves, of course, motivation within a training can be reached if the training is or the skills that are there inside the training are achievable for them. How to do it? So we know actually that the one who comes has some expectations. That's why when we have our employers with us, we know how to frame the skills that will be sufficient within a training for a person who accomplish it to get the job. Of course, we support to find the job, but anyway, the one who accomplish it is sure that the skills he or she gets is enough. Then the training should be skill-oriented, as I have already said, and the outcome of the training should be feasible for the person who gets it. So he should see what is the destination of it. It's not just a couple of weeks that he or she spends with us and then go into the vast area of job seekers. Next, we speak about the flexibility. As we speak about vulnerable population and people with a variety of problems and complexes, we never emphasize, I mean, the training is developed the way that none of them feel that it is not achievable. Why? Because we add some very like trifle things that help them to integrate into the course. Let's speak about some tasks that are difficult for people with leg injuries to accomplish. How do we do? We do it in pairs. So teamwork or job in pairs means that they learn how to share responsibilities. And at the same time, it's like not direct, but indirect way to help a person to achieve some goal. And we do not emphasize the difficulty he or she may have if we do not integrate this part into the training. So when we speak about the innovation in practice, I don't know whether maybe the innovation sounds very loud for this case, but you know, we have the practice to integrate art therapy in the courses. How it happens, it's not a special hours for the people. It means that you again emphasize something they lack. No, never. So when we, let's speak about again pastry. They have to work with dough, and our psychologists have some like training for our teachers to understand what art therapy is, how the people with some problems can overcome the difficulties or minimize the problem they have by working with a dough. So it means that our learner just work with a dough. He creates a recipe. He bake something that is according to the today's class is an assignment for everybody. But at the same time, the teacher has quite a different approach to work with this definite person, and not directly, indirectly helps him to overcome the difficulties, because when he worked with the dough, maybe he expressed some thoughts, then you pay attention to the thought, give some comment to it, like to help him. And for example, with hairdressers, we use painting, because drawings is also something that help people to get over the problems. So let's say you would like to have some haircut or some special hairdressing. you use drawing in this case, it's also the sort of an art therapy, but it is not something special that emphasizes that you have a problem. Let's go to the psychologist and he will treat your problem and help you. You know, I think that it is very important, never emphasize, but integrate such kind of trifle elements that support people with difficulties, support people of a vulnerable population of this kind. And as I mentioned here, in public praise, we know from our experience that these people has to be praised, and they have to learn to speak in public, to thank in public, to be praised in public, and it is also one step towards integration. When we speak about possible options of tasks, it doesn't mean that we give them different tasks, never. The same task with the same audience is given differently to everybody. It means everyone can take the one that is easy for him to get. Let's say you have a recipe, it is on your table with the description how to make. Another one is on the blackboard with an easy steps to follow the recipe. The other thing is that the trainer repeats all the time the way the recipe has to be done. So it is the variety of things that repeated all the time during one lesson, and each one of a participant, of the learners can find the way which is much comprehensible for him or for her. The same is with the tasks that develop concentration. So once you read, next you listen, again you see on the board, then your classmate explain how he does, then the next one explains how she does the same thing. So the repetition refers to everybody. You never emphasize on a person with disability. You never emphasize the one who has some psychological traumas or the one who has injuries. So it is the way of integration of a person through small, how to call it, small training units that are combined and create one general course. And finally, when we speak about employment, actually we are a private vet school. We are not state school. State assistance and state support are to state establishments, but in our case, we never let our learners to be outside the assistance. We have our donors, and they had a good input in this. That's why all the trainings for them are free of charge. And the job finding is also something that we help them to do through our career guidance first. And in addition, we include our employers who are always connected with us and give the assistance. We always know what are the vacancies. So in this case, we are always close to those who are trained in our vet school. So besides, we also have the social network. We never let them just go. They are the part of our great social society, and the trainers have like the social groups with them, and they have always the connection with them. They follow us in our Facebook. So every next learner becomes the family member of SEPFA. That's it.
It's a beautiful way to end the presentation. Thank you so much, Jelena. I'm really positively impressed about how personal needs-based your approach is, with extremely strong support to the individuals to achieve their objectives in learning through the various things that you have shared, from support to increase self-confidence and motivation, support through teamwork to give those who might not get all the self-motivation by themselves into the day-to-day work, get support from their team member. I also like very much the integration of art therapy into your work to support the learning achievement. So really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. And I have a first question here. It's the third time I try to pronounce your name. Maybe you just want to help me. You want to speak?
So, yeah. Hi, everyone again. My name is Jaffer.
Jaffer. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you want to ask your question yourself?
Yep. Okay. So thank you very much for the beautiful presentation and for the beautiful work that you do. It was really inspiring, powerful to me. So regarding your staff, what kind of training do they receive to support your learners?
Thank you.
Okay, actually, we have not a large staff, and we have the psychologist that works inside the college. So it means that they cooperate with the psychologist. Why? Because we know that our chef or our hairdresser is not the person who is going to heal the person, but he or she has to be competent enough to understand the case and give the right direction to the case. I understand what you mean. So if we see that there is something that needs deeper knowledge and approach, in this case, of course, we try to be polite, how to explain the person to go to talk to our psychologists. But actually, when we speak about our masters, I mean our teachers, they cooperate with our psychologists for him to understand what is the topic of a training and where he can or she can see the like these elements of psychological art therapy elements.
Thanks a lot, Jelena. There are a lot of different approaches you've heard today, and that was on purpose. So we have the variety. It was a very interesting comment by a colleague in the chat. She had to leave before, but she said that she really enjoys listening, not just having a focus on upskilling, but actually on the person. So it's not just economic, but also social integration. When we talk about adult learning and education, that must be a second objective. It's not just about economic integration. But we listened to this variety of cases today, and I wondered if there are some other reflections or questions to Jelena, but also to our other speakers. Feel free to also share any reflection you have or your own approach in your school. Please, Jelena.
I have one question to our first speaker. He says that they use gamification in trainings. As far as we encounter some questions, I mean, some issues with it, I would like to know if there had any problems related to digital competencies of people who are the learners of the training, because gamification expects some level of digital knowledge.
Good point, Jelena. Leith, are you still with us? And to scan through the list here. I don't see him now here on the screen.
That is a typical question to be followed up during the club. So typically, what you observe in terms of dynamic is that some questions come up also after the this discussion. So it can happen that people come and go. So maybe just keep the question for the discussions online. Thanks.
Of course. And Fabio, do you want to explain briefly how it works with the discussion online?
Well, typically, yes, sure. Typically, after every club meeting like this, we have more or less a meeting every month and a half, where we do two things. We present new practices and we advance towards towards a co-created outcome based on the discussion. So we will typically extract from these practices the shareable elements and transferable elements, and we work on those towards a kind of outcome that is discussed actually and agreed by the club members. Just to give you an example, in the other two clubs, we are one is focusing on a set of scenarios for STEAM in terms of main result, so practical ways through which educators can actually implement innovative STEAM, really starting from zero as well. And the motto there is low tech and high impact STEAM. And in the AI one, we are working on, well, actually the club members are co-working and co-developing a set of AI literacies for educators, starting from the UNESCO literacy frameworks for educators and grounding it down on the needs of non-experts educators in terms of tools, approaches, and practices. So, I mean, we will discuss at a certain point, maybe during the next meeting, what are the needs of both the excellent / innovative contributors, but also the other ones, of course, the ones that maybe, you know, as we have seen today, have doubts and questions and want to replicate or to adapt things. So typically, we see recurrent questions or recurrent issues coming during the meetings, and based on these, we then sort of co-design the outcome. So typically, no questions remain unattended. So that was my point. Olena, you wanted to say something? I saw you had your hands up.
Yes, actually, not to have any question unattended. I wanted to react to what Yelena was saying, because you touched upon a very crucial and interesting aspect of our work, our common work. I mean, both the ETF and all the educators around in this group. And we're experimenting with gamification, not necessarily digital type of gamification, but in terms of adult learning games, you know. So we are trying to work both to bring the element of gamification into the work of educators themselves. So if you would, after this meeting, if you would go to the ETF page, which is Innovation in Teaching and Learning, you will find all the different tools that we have developed, and they are explained there. For example, we have the card deck for teachers, for educators, for trainers, and really it's for adult trainers, for adult teachers who work with adults, which is called Scaffold, for key competence development. All three speakers mentioned the importance of key competence learning outcomes, and integrated learning outcomes approaches is implemented there. And also, for example, we have the teacher booster videos with playlists, which are explaining a lot of different methods of how educators, experienced teachers, how they are applying gamification in the development of of entrepreneurship competence or digital competence. So it's both designing gamification for the learners, which allows them to implement their learner agency, to take an active position in their own learning, in guiding themselves through the learning needs and opportunities. And also on the side of the teachers and all those who support the learners, not only teachers, implying gamification to design the learning experiences, to assess, etc., etc. So I think it would be a very decent topic for one of the discussions of this club, and I think we have a lot to bring in and a lot to listen to learn from you how you do it. I forgot probably to say that I'm Olena Bech, and I am the coordinator for Innovation in Teaching and Learning, content coordinator at the ETF.
Thank you very much, Olena. I wanted to introduce you right now, but you just did it in time. Thank you. Are there any other reflections or questions in the group? Also from our speakers, Simon, Jelena, if you have anything to add, any reflections, please feel free. Okay. Well, this is great. I really enjoyed that session. I found the variety of presentations very rich. I hope you share that feeling. We want to continue with that club. It is really a very, very important topic, how we organize adult learning, how we increase participation of adults in learning, how we support their integration into society. It's not just about economic integration and employment. And what are the different tools to do that? How do we organize from the pedagogical point of view, the andragogy aspect, yeah, the learning for adults? So there are many different topics that are still to discuss, and I look forward to that. But before closing, I know that Olena has a couple of more words to say in general, and I will then finish with some concrete next steps. Olena, back to you.
Thank you very much, Florian. Actually, I would like to compliment the speakers today. I think it was a very important kickoff today. All the three presentations are very different, but they have a lot in common. But it's really gives a very interesting picture to start with, and to open some topics for the future, to zoom into these topics. We have selected the topics for the new learning clubs very carefully in general. The adult learning new learning club is one of the few which were selected after many discussions, and the clubs in general are a new form for us of work. So it depends on all of us, on yourselves, on participants, and ourselves who create the conditions, but we are not supplying anything. We are just facilitating the work. We are helping to make sure that the mutual learning is happening. And so, given that this is new form of our work, there is a lot in your hand also in the way how it will be developing. So each club is different, and it's guided by the people who are active in it. And for us, adult learning as part of lifelong learning is a topic which is super important, super big interest and importance, but at the same time, it's very hard to capture. Many of you who work on lifelong learning know that the indexes of lifelong learning in the majority of countries are very low. They're low because we are not capturing. We don't know what is happening, because we have a better grip of the formal education. But what is happening in non-formal? They are working in silos. They are not connected. And to create conditions for the people throughout their lives for lifelong learning, we need to make sure that there are some ways to create these pathways, to create these trajectories which will be flexible enough for the people to be owners of their own learning, but at the same time that the supporting systems will be cooperating and talking to each other. And so one of the biggest problems here is that the formal education, in particular the VET provision, IVET provision, in initial VET, and non-formal learning and continuous VET, they are not so much connected in many places and in many situations. So we are not utilizing the capacity of vocational training providers. And at the same time, we're lacking very good facilities, conditions, capacities to ensure very high quality adult learning. So it's empowering both the VET providers and at the same time helping to create conditions for this individualized, personalized, differentiated approach in providing learning to adults. And you already raised many issues. We are also through collection of innovative practices, through partnering with different organizations and networks, we have selected three big topics within which we have a lot of smaller issues to zoom in. So one of them would be the institutional conditions, the regulatory environment, the governance issue, the funding mechanisms, the roles of different institutions, how the interplay between them. And the second would be this area of competence-based focus. So it's both competence-based learning, focus on learning outcomes, and competence-based assessment, certification, and all the different ways of recognizing prior learning and making sure that, again, the assessment bodies and the training providers, they all cooperate to make sure that adults do not spend too much time on searching for information or on learning too much in order to receive certain certificates. And the third would be to support the teachers and trainers who really are providers of learning, to provide tools for them, to provide the necessary training conditions, professional development, etc. So these are the three big areas of work which we see from our side. But we are very much interested to go deeper with you together with this club. And also we will be, we have one of the events this year, which is a small workshop which will be taking place in November, which we will report back to the club. And then we hope that we will be able through next year to create this, again, this continuum of cooperation activities to make sure that the learning is taking place, not only from reading papers, but also from live interaction, from building trust and making it the basis for new projects, new cooperation activities. So that would be my conclusion on the takeoff from the club, and also giving a little bit of the heads up for the future.
Thanks a lot, Olena. I'm posting a reminder now in the chat. Oh, my message is too long. Okay, I'm not allowed to post this one. I will post a reminder in a second in the chat for the concrete next steps. So what are we doing now? So first, we will have another club meeting in December. We will announce this in time. You will be able to join. We will ask again for interested people to present. So this is not a very selective process, but we really want to keep that open and give everyone the chance to share his or her practice. So please use that opportunity. The idea is not to present the perfect case. It can also be the presentation of a challenge that you face, you know, following the idea of the play zone. So why not? Yeah, presenting a challenge and asking the groups, the members of the group for input and ideas. So this is also a nice approach to take. Then I kindly remind you to share your practices. I will post now in the chat again the link. So you can see here a link where it's a very simple form to fill in, where you can share what you do in the area of adult learning. Here I will share as well a link where you find practices in the wider community of educators, and one post from today of our Jordan colleagues. And the last thing I wanted to mention is one of the objectives, as I said in the beginning, is also next to the collection of good practices to understand better how far is adult learning and education developed in your particular school. You might be a teacher, not the head teacher or director of your school, but nevertheless, it would be very interesting for us to understand where you stand as a school in offering adult education. Is it, like in the case of our Armenian colleagues, your main target group, yeah? That is really specialized on working with adults, and also with the Belgian case in reality, they're all adults. Or are you mainly a provider of initial education and training, and offering some adult learning offers is a side idea, a side work of yours? So it would be interesting to understand better the state of play, and it's a short form. Mail it back to me. You can also ask me any questions if you need to. So happy to have that conversation. Fabio, is there anything else from your side, or Roberto, on the overall club?
No, just a comment to say that, as Olena was saying, members can shape the club. So if you have an idea, for example, about something that you have always dreamt of producing, like a collection of tools, as Florian was saying, a collection of practices or something else, feel free to propose it. Feel free to write to Florian or to myself, to Roberto. We will share all the links, and then, or to propose it through a post on Open Space, meaning that this is the perfect moment to shape together what we want to do in practical terms out of the club. As Florian said, we have already an idea of a minimum set of things that we will do, that we believe they are useful in terms of knowledge sharing, but any bright idea that you might have, feel free to share it, and we will do our best to accommodate it. Yeah, so the floor is open not only for contributions, but also for ideas, blue sky ideas, and we look forward to them.
And this is an informal meeting of people, of peers, so please don't hesitate to propose, as Fabio was suggesting, and stay tuned for the next meeting. You will receive a follow-up mail in the next days with a very short summary and the link for the recording, especially for those who didn't have the chance to participate, and we will set the date as soon as possible for our next club's meetup. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Fabio, Roberto, Olena, and to all the speakers, especially Yelena and Simon, who are still with us now. So thank you so much, and thanks to all of you for your time to join. And let's stay in touch. This is not a one-off. This is really your club, and we're just here to give the frame for a good discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.